Okay, there you go.
Bingo.
Thank you for
Welcome to
notifying me.
Welcome to Sports Banter's first ever snake draft based on Barstool's Dogwalk Snake Draft, the famous, with Mr. Peanut.
And the polar bear.
And then two special guests here. One we can't get rid of, Doc Downing. Welcome
Yeah,
aboard
babe,
once again.
in the house.
And a first ever appearance, Ryan Downing. So it's Downing City.
There's been several references to me on other podcasts, so happy to be here in the flesh the first time.
Some derogatory, some, shiny
It's
parts.
been
But
half good, half bad.
Right. You have an opportunity to defend yourself.
right,
Yeah,
your first time
I have a
to
voice.
use your voice, correct. But today's snake draft, we will be doing March Madness. And the categories are one moment, one commentator, one Cinderella, one game, and one miscellaneous. So naturally, there's a million questions here, minus Ryan, who watches the actual snake draft. The main ground rules: do not reveal picks while in discussion. That'll be a big one. You're going to want to spew everything you got. Keep it. This is your draft, man. Keep your secrets intact. Looking at you, Doc. And you too, Polar Bear.
It's going to be tough in this one.
Yeah, I'm pensively awaiting how this works. Keep going.
A big one: you cannot pick a moment from a game that's been selected and vice versa. So once a moment from a game has been picked, that game is out. And then if you pick a game, then you can't pick moments from that game.
And that's for every category. So once one game is mentioned once, you can't name it in another category.
Right. You can't say, I loved this game. And then the next guy goes, and I liked this 3-pointer from that game. Like it's just, let's keep it spread out.
Got it.
Okay. 2 vetoes. If people don't like the pick, don't think it makes sense, you need 2 people to say it doesn't make sense, and then you got to pick again. And I believe that's it. Are there any questions on the floor?
Yes.
Go ahead.
How do we decide a winner in this whole thing? I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah. So we're gonna put it on our Instagram page. I'll fill out a board. I have a little template here that very similar to Barstool's picture graph deal, and I'll put that up and let the people decide. And it will be nameless.
All right, let's roll.
So,
Yeah. This is
I got a quick question. So do you have, like, if you got 3 things, can you say all 3 and then say what your most favorite one is, or you just say the one thing that's your favorite and that's it?
I don't think I understand the question.
If he has 3 options, can he name those 3 options but pick his favorite option?
I think that falls under the category of keep your picks to yourself. Make the selection on what you want. But no, don't say I liked all this stuff. There's gonna be a lot of that too, because we're not gonna cover every single part of March Madness.
Doc, the Bears don't say, I like Justin Fields and Mac Jones or whatever, and then pick Justin Fields.
That's a good comparison.
Wow.
Also, another part is if, let's say, the first pick is a moment, the next guy doesn't have to pick a moment. You can pick another category. You don't have to follow in line with the guy that's before you. It's
nice.
But
Did not know that.
It's just one of each category until your whole board is filled.
So you can go in any order you want. Okay, cool.
Correct.
All right.
So if you wanted something, you didn't get it, you don't have to settle for the second best thing in your mind. You could go to the first best in a different category.
Well, there's going to be a couple times I'm going to say the other thing I'm thinking, just because I'm going to do that.
Well, you can't. That's illegal.
Wow, look at that. Just comes in, try to change the rules.
Yeah, you'll be banned for life.
Veto. Yep, veto.
Veto.
I just went to 9 NCAA games in 4 days in a state 2,000 miles away. You should give me a little leeway here.
That's like you get pulled over.
No,
you get pulled over for speeding, and then you go, "Well, I'm just gonna keep speeding."
Well, okay.
So don't do that shit.
All right, I'll try.
The way the draft goes, it's a snake draft, so it goes 1 to 4, and then 4 as the next pick, and then it goes all the way back,
Okay.
like fantasy football. If is that Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't agree with everything, but it makes sense.
Well, I would expect that.
I'm
You're
sure
not-
to screw something up, so let's go.
You're
Okay.
not in charge, so obviously you already have some qualms.
Yes.
All right, the way we're gonna pick the order is as such. Share my screen here.
Oh, a little share screen. Hi, Professor Downing.
Can you see?
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
The dude, IT specialist.
However,
You gotta get the marketing job. all of a sudden.
I did just drop my little draft board though, so that's a mistake right out the gates.
Uh-oh.
There we go. We're back. So if your name lands on, or the wheel lands on your name, you get to pick 1 through 4. What's your spot until we fill up the spots. Here we go.
How fun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Come on! Oh, you bitch.
Oh, the bear.
Polar bear.
So I'm first.
Well, no, you get to pick what spot you
One
want to
through
pick.
4.
So 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Oh, 2.
A confident 2. I'm not sure why that was
Easy
so
choice.
quick.
Yeah, what an odd choice of numbers to pick.
Oh, what would you pick, Doc? But you didn't get to pick first. I did.
I can't tell you what I'd pick because I can't say anything other than what I'm gonna have to say.
Oh, wow.
Issues already.
Jesus.
I'm
All right.
already bitter. We're not
Next
even
pick.
5 minutes in.
No way this gets done in 45.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I will pick number 1.
I know your pick.
Of course you do. So the Downing that was going to get number 1 was going to make this pick.
Yep, I'm
I
upset.
I was not.
That's all I wanted.
I know the pick, but I would not make that number 1.
I'm already upset.
This is going great already. All right. 3 and 4.
I will go back to back. I'll go 4.
Okay.
And that means our D is number 3. The wheel is now closed.
I've
Yeah,
never
go back
seen
to
that
business
before. That's
here.
pretty cool.
All right. And with the first
Okay.
selection of the Sports Banter March Madness draft, every Downing knows and is upset that they don't have him on their draft board. And for the crime against humanity that he is no longer announcing NCAA games, it's an easy 1-1. It's Gus Johnson.
Yep, 100%.
He is I mean, if you just look up, best moments from March Madness, it'll be like the plays that happen in the game, but most of it's his calls. I mean, he takes a moment that is like a buzzer beater or just a big play and makes it an even bigger one. And there's 1,000 different games that, I can hear his voice in my head right now screaming.
I wrote down a bunch because I figured I would get him.
Well, let's hear it.
He's got the slipper still fits. Gonzaga beats Florida early Gonzaga days.
That was a good one. Yeah.
When out of well, I guess I can't name all the games.
Right. The
Well,
one,
here's one that wasn't an NCAA tournament. Isaiah Thomas, Washington,
Oh,
step back 3, cold-blooded.
yeah, it's all of those little monikers that, I mean, we grew up watching it, and he stopped calling the games like 10 years ago, and every year I research his name hoping that he got rehired somehow or something.
Well, it's not going to happen until Fox gets the tournament
Right.
back, and that seems highly unlikely.
But even so, I mean, if you hear him on like college football, the Fox games that
Yeah.
he covers, they're incredible. He's an electric factory.
You got to give one, haha, his deal since you drafted him.
I mean, that's pretty good.
There are a lot of announcers who don't like him. However, I did read a bunch about it, but guys who just think he is overplays the moment, that it's like he makes it bigger than it really was. But I disagree with that entirely. But
Right?
yeah, no, I think
Maybe for football, but for basketball, he's just
I think he's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think anyone who thinks that way can go to hell. And I have Gus's
I agree
back
with
to the end of time. So Gus Johnson, 1-1. It's a no-brainer.
absolutely no-brainer.
Polar Bear, number 2.
All right. So I don't have to pick a commentator, right?
That's correct. You can go anywhere you want.
Well, actually, I think I'll just go with my commentator. Just get the damn thing out of the way because, you know, I'm just that kind of person.
Use the mic.
I know. Good Lord. I know, right? For me, it's Kevin Harlan. And the reason I picked him was mainly aesthetics, if anything, because to me, every time I hear him commentate any type of game, when they pan to see who he is, it drastically shocks me that the voice that's coming through the speakers is that guy. He sounds completely different. So that for me is why I picked him. Also, I don't have like a specific game or anything, but to me, it's, I don't know. That is a big factor. Is like this guy's voice is so different from what he looks like. Of course, you know, that's just me thinking in an odd way. But also, too, I think what you were talking about earlier, Mr. Peanut, was making the moments a lot crazier than they actually were. I mean, he's really good at just hyping everybody up. But that's, again, I've only watched basketball really the past like 3 or 4 seasons, but hearing him is that's what I like about it. Again, not dramatic.
Kevin Harlan is a pick. Doc, what do you think?
He actually did the Drake Loyola game. So he was the I think he's the color guy, and I can't remember who I think Dan play-by-play, yeah. So they were going to do this big thing prior to the game, and they were out in the middle of the court, and teams are warming up around him and going to do all this stuff. So he said a couple of words, you know, on the TV, and that's when I texted you guys saying, "Who is that?" I know the voice, right? Because as Brian was saying, I mean, like you hear the voice, you go, "Oh yeah, I know that voice," but I couldn't pick who it was. But the game prior to the Drake Loyola game went so damn long that they just shoot him off the court, and so. Until Ryan, I guess they finally announced them when our game was going to start. But yeah, I think he's good. I didn't listen to anything that he did of that game, but if he's working a Drake game, you know he's pretty important.
There you go.
RD, weird take there.
Yeah, he was number 2 on my list. So I don't have any negativity. Good pick.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I actually wrote voice of the tourney. He was on my list as well because he does so many games that, like, when you say Kevin Harlan, like, you know he's an announcer, but I wasn't sure. Like, I'd listen to some clips, and then I heard a few clips. I was like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think maybe it took him a little early, but it's the commentator side of things is kind of sparse. So
yeah,
I don't hate
very very bleak.
All right,
I'm up.
RD number 3.
So I got the full pick of the litter here, minus commentator.
Take it easy.
I'm gonna go moment, and I gotta go with Villanova, 2016, Chris Jenkins buzzer beater after I think it's Marcus Page on North Carolina hits that double pump 3. I mean, it's pretty tough to top that moment. So easy choice here.
Yeah, I mean, not only is that just a phenomenal ending of a championship game that was insane to begin with, but now he takes that whole game out of the equation.
Right. I was gonna say, now you guys can't pick that game, so I win twice.
And it is just an incredible moment. I mean, a buzzer beater to win the game after, like you said, that crazy 3-pointer that Page put up, which never should have went in to begin with. But I mean, the guy freaking nails to win the game.
That was against North Carolina, right?
Yeah, North Carolina. So Marcus Page was the little lefty who hit the 3. I mean, you can't get much bigger than a game-winning 3-pointer from 40 feet away in a championship game.
Was that the game where it went like there's a 3-pointer and then he came back and responded with a 3? Or am I?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he had a 3 to tie it, I believe, or maybe go up 1. And then Villanova had the ball with like 5 seconds to go, ran down the court.
That's right.
They did like a back pass to Chris Jenkins. He nailed it.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
It's a perfect pick. It's a great first round pick. I mean,
has to be first round.
Might be all time moment of March
Thanks, Ryan.
Madness. I think Doc's a little bitter about it because he's
No,
very,
no,
very
I'm-
quiet.
Well, there's a couple of villain. I mean, they've been in it a bunch, so you see a bunch of their plays. But that was one I had written down as well. There was another one I had, but of course I can't tell you what that one is until it's my turn.
Right. You're very
That's
flustered by the fact that you can't speak
He's
about
so
it.
But I do like I like that game.
All right, Doc, pick number 4.
Yeah, so you can kind of put this in a couple of different categories, but I'm going to put this. We have a miscellaneous, right?
That's correct.
Yep. So I'm going to put in now again. I'm going to be there's games that you like probably don't know or maybe weren't alive for, but you've heard of them. So I'm
Sure.
going to go with the 1979 national championship game,
Okay,
Michigan State with
Magic
who
Johnson.
was their star player, Magic Johnson, against
Larry Bird.
Indiana State with Larry Bird. And that in and of itself was a great matchup. Indiana State was undefeated, right? I think Michigan State maybe had one loss.
Wait, why is that miscellaneous?
Well, because I got another one for just one game, but the reason it's miscellaneous is
No.
because
No,
Vito.
no, you can't. You
No, that has to
picked.
be your
You
game.
literally picked the game.
well then
You just said the
you-
game.
Okay, well I don't like that as my game. The reason I'm saying it's,
Why
the
would
reason
you like
I'm
that as
saying
your game?
it's miscellaneous is because of the careers where one went to Boston and the other one went to the Lakers, and they played like in national championships against each other during all of those years. So I mean, the NBA
Vito.
became a great league that way.
Doc, I am gonna have to say you're gonna have to take that as your game because that is literally the game. Magic
Or
Johnson
reconsider, but
versus.
that can't be miscellaneous. You can't pick another. Just
Yeah, I
add
thought you were
specific
about to pick
category.
my miscellaneous, and I was like, wow, this guy's on it. But then you just picked a game, which is fine. I love that
Oh,
game.
I'm gonna keep it. You throw it in whatever category, but from 1979 plus that's the year I graduated from college. And Larry Bird, I saw him play in college 7 or 8 different times because he was at Indiana State all 4 years, played all 4 years. So I mean, it also had some meaning, and I hated the son of a bitch. So I was rooting for Magic Johnson, yeah, because he was so good. I couldn't Drake could never beat him. So
I mean,
um,
if I was you, I'd be happy that I have it as the game. It's a great
yeah,
game.
no, I love
It's a
that.
good pick.
An all-time game. I had it on my list.
I'll go game. So
Okay, so there's your game. Miscellaneous category still available. And
Yeah, I don't think you're grasping the miscellaneous category.
yeah, that's the best. That is a great one-liner. He goes, "I'm going miscellaneous." The Michigan State Indiana State game.
Game.
I mean, that's
Just
after
total disregard.
a weekend of Arch Madness. That's how the
Okay.
brain functions.
all right. So now we're gonna go. So I get a second pick.
That's correct.
Are we not true?
Yes.
So I'm gonna go with maybe a little bit weird one, but this would maybe be then the biggest upset. We have one of those.
Cinderella.
It would be. Well, it depends. Like
Or
Would that
moment.
be
You can do
Cinderella
moment.
story, or
it could be a moment, maybe.
That's right.
Now, see, now we're getting in the weeds of like what makes sense.
Okay. Well,
But
so
I feel like you're just gonna list another game.
I am, but that is kind of the that is
Well, if
kind
it's
of
a-
the
if it's
idea.
a-
So I can take this as miscellaneous. How about that?
Let's
So
see.
the first time a number 1 seed has ever been beaten by a number 16 seed.
No way.
That's a moment, I feel like.
That is a moment.
Okay, then
I'll
go
take that
moment.
as a moment. I'll allow it as a moment.
The moment. So we all remember the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and their nickname is
Retrievers.
Retrievers. Which in
Retrieve-
and of itself is just awesome, right? And they played Virginia, first round, 1 versus 16. Watched it here. Well, watched a lot of games here, but watched it here. And UMBC just kept pumping in points. It was like Virginia didn't have enough offense to compete with UMBC. So as the game went on, I was like, sooner or later, Virginia's gonna take the upper hand because they're bigger and stronger and play way tougher competition. And game kept going on and on and on, and UMBC would not stop scoring. I don't remember what the final was, but they would not stop scoring. It was
I vividly remember watching that game at right where you're sitting, and
Yeah.
it quickly became the group of people that we were together were obviously all in on UMBC, just taking it to Virginia. And I mean, first of all, Virginia couldn't score at all, and UMBC was just making every play in the book. All these no-name guys. They had one guy out there who's like 5'3", freaking Muggsy Bogues out there.
yeah. Yeah, just a completely ridiculous looking team.
Yeah,
Again,
this is like
Virginia, right? Who's
that
got
guy
6,
went to
7
UMBC.
guards. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there was actually their point guard was like 5'5".
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he was.
It was amazing.
And he was dribbling right around him. They actually almost won in the second round too, if you remember that.
Yeah, they
lost
played him.
lost to Kansas State just off pure size at the end. But yeah, I mean, a 16 beating a 1, it's only happened once.
Right.
It's a great
So
moment.
you got to count for somewhere.
I like how you just pick stuff and you're just trying to fit it in
Yeah.
different categories.
I was gonna say it's a good pick. We just got to get you focused on categories.
Well, I'm running out of categories, so I'll go one moment for that one.
Okay. All right, so back to me.
Yes, RD.
Okay. Tough now. I gotta go. I'm gonna go with my favorite. Shit.
All right, come on.
All right, let's go with. I'll go Cinderella. I don't
Okay.
know if favorite's the right word, but they're probably the most fun to watch. I'm going Florida Gulf Coast
God damn it.
with
God damn it.
with Dunk City.
Ah.
They beat Georgetown, killed Georgetown the first round.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately wiped the floor with San Diego State as well in the second round.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, they were just all-time fun team to watch with all the dunks and all that good stuff. So can't pass them up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that pisses me off. I figure, if I take Gus Johnson, then you're gonna take, Florida Gulf Coast and just shove it to me, and that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, they were a fun team.
They were awesome. I mean, I could not name one guy on that team today or who the coach was, but I know he ended up at USC.
Yeah,
But, I
the
mean,
best part is
Yeah,
you
that's the
haven't
best
heard
part.
of. The best part is you haven't heard an absolute thing from them since. So it was just 1 year.
Yeah.
True Cinderella. Who are these guys? What city is this? No idea.
And they're just high flying, dunking on your face, doing whatever they
Right.
want to, winning by
Yeah.
20 versus teams that they should never even be in contest with. And
Like-
first 15 seed to make it to the Sweet 16 too.
Yeah, I was like, who are these guys? What's going on here?
What city
they're
are they
awesome.
from, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can win the whole thing. What's going on?
That literally was one of the one teams like they really did play like they had nothing to lose. It's like, well, we're average at best anyway. So they were just shooting threes and throwing the ball down the court. And it's like, they got one chance to win in a million years. They went for it. It was pretty good.
Polar Bear, what do you got on Florida Gulf Coast?
What?
What do you got on the Ryan's pick, Florida Gulf Coast, Cinderella?
Oh, I think it's great. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, look, you guys are very inept in the whole March Madness thing, way more than me.
Inept?
Yeah,
I think you mean a depth.
not inept. I'm flustered. I'm flustered. But again, I mean, like I said, I'll be honest, I haven't really watched March Madness like thoroughly. I've only watched, like I said, like the last 4 seasons. So
Well, you're gonna have a hell of a draft board then, and you're
I
up.
You're in a tough spot.
I'm screwed. It's very, what is it? Very thin. But I think what I am gonna go for is
He'll end up winning the draft, by the way. Much like people who don't know anything about college basketball win these pools. This will be Polar Bear in this draft.
this. Yes. I don't know. This one, it kind of floated between miscellaneous and also a game, if you will. But it was actually the first time I watched, you kind of go along with it, but the first time I watched a March Madness game with my dad was the 2000. Well, this was the game that we watched like together, and it was connected to March Madness, was the 2005 Illinois versus Arizona comeback, where it was like, I think it was like 4 minutes left or something like that, 5 minutes, where they needed like, what was it, like 30 points or some shit like that.
Let me help you out, Polar Bear. It was on my list. They were down 15
Oh yeah, it's a great pick.
with 4 minutes to go, and Illinois came back. That was D Brown, Darren Williams, Luther Head team. So 15-point comeback, 4 minutes to go.
Yeah,
Great pick.
Yeah, and again, it's like I said, it was, I don't know. My dad was really big into March Madness. I wasn't really into it, so he was like, "Hey, let's," that was my first introduction to like March Madness. Really, was that big comeback, and that's why it's kind of stuck in my head. Again, I don't know if that's. I'll put that as my game because my miscellaneous. I would put that as my game for that, just because miscellaneous can be kind of anything, right? So I'll put that as my game. Again, it's more of a sentimental thing, but the game, again, I wasn't a big basketball fan at the time. So for me, that was just a byproduct of it.
You incidentally just wound up with like one of the best games in March Madness history. I mean, that was a phenomenal comeback for an Illinois team that was like, they ended up in the championship that year. Like they had all this championship expectations. I mean, Doc, what do you think about the Illinois comeback pick?
Yeah, it's one of the few times that Illinois hasn't disappointed me.
Exactly.
I mean, one of the very, very few. So, yeah, I mean, I do remember that. And I think Arizona coach was Lute Olson, and he was an Iowa guy. So it was great because Illinois kind of beat the Iowa coach. So, yeah, there was a lot of meaning to it for Illinois people.
Nice. I like the pick a lot.
That was number 2 on my board, Polar Bear. Great pick. You're on fire, kid.
Oh man.
All right.
Last.
Back to me. So I'm gonna go with moment, and this one sticks out to me a lot because there's a lot of buzzer beaters and awesome games that happen in March Madness, but there's not always a historic blunder that gets replayed that deciphers the national championship or a massive game and, kind of change the trajectory of that whole team, which was the Fab Five. I'm going with the Chris Webber timeout with no timeouts left in the national championship game.
Yeah.
I mean,
massive blunder.
Yeah. It's the 30 for 30s. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch that. I mean, it obviously changed the trajectory of, he still was like the number 1 pick or whatever, but Chris Webber's legacy and that whole team's legacy changed based on that moment. Who's to say they come back and win that game? But I mean, that moment ended that whole national championship run. So Chris Webber timeout.
And now Juwan Howard, who was on that team, just punches other coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
Still bitter.
Yeah, you see? Who knows? If Chris Webber isn't called a timeout, maybe Juwan's a little more.
Yeah, maybe he's a little happier dude. Right.
RD, what do you have on that?
It was on my list, but towards the bottom. I mean, I thought there was lots.
Oh.
I mean, it's a big moment, sure, but I thought there was more. Like, is it fun? No, it wasn't that fun of a moment. But so I would have gone a different direction. But you do you.
Oh, I don't understand any of that. I mean, the timeout that ends the national championship with no timeouts. Not a good pick.
Championship?
Yeah, it was a championship.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought
you need to do some research. That's what you need to
do. Yeah, but it's a guy screwing up, So it's like, is that a fun thing to draft
exactly.
for?
I would say that that's a quintessential moment. If you fucked up.
It's literally a moment.
It's a moment. It's
a moment, yeah,
part
no.
of the game where he fucked
It
up.
definitely qualifies.
Oh man, he's so bitter about that.
I know. Well, we had to get some squabble in there at some point. And I like it. It's like I feel like you almost wanted to squabble. You just wanted to throw your squabble in there, which I appreciate. But
Yeah, I was
the
like,
timeout wasn't the time to do it.
I started with it was on my list, but towards the bottom.
Oh yeah. Whenever there's a but, it's everyone knows what that means.
what? It was on my list, but
Right. Pass.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take it. Hey, that's why
I
I
love
didn't
the pick. Love the pick. And
That
I'm
was a
going
pop
again.
out.
And this one I absolutely love. I'm going miscellaneous. And there really is no March Madness without betting. I mean, betting on sports is the quintessential, like almost best. It's almost better than the games. You're
Wow.
betting on Vermont versus Syracuse, and that Vermont wins, and you're up $20. And then the favorite loses, and you're down $40. It's a constant struggle.
I would agree with that. I think it's a great pick for miscellaneous. I mean, it's funny how you thought about that, because my first thought process was not about betting, but as I've come to know the Downing clan, betting is a part of it.
Exactly.
But
There's-
honestly, I'll be honest, that to me was a great, exceptional pick. I love that. That
I appreciate that, Polar Bear. I appreciate that.
I think
An integrity move out of you.
yeah, tip the cap. But it's cool because you are right. I never thought about it that much. It's like how, I mean, betting in sports is huge, but I mean, March Madness itself, I think what makes it crazier to think about is you have people, like you said earlier, that have no idea about NBA or excuse me, NCAA basketball, and they're betting on these games, and I think that's what's pretty cool about it.
It's a blast. I mean, and if you go to if you go to Vegas for the games to watch and you're at the sports book all day, I mean, it's a blast. You're out of breath by hour 3.
Exhausted. Yeah.
So.
I'm exhausted just sitting here watching it.
Yeah.
Watching what?
The big days when there's like,
Yeah.
16 games,
Yeah.
you just go in one station to the next and back and forth, and who's on, what games are close, and I got them in my pool, but I also bet against them on a bet, and
And
like
that's
goes 100 different ways.
it makes it so great when exactly that when you're looking at your sheet and you go, well, I picked them, but I bet it that. And like, where am I? I don't even know what I'm doing.
Right. I just want the game to get over with so I can, highlight it or something.
And the classic line of "stop the game." I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Stop the game. It's perfect.
Yeah. I said that a few times on Sunday.
Now that was a good pick. I'll admit it when I see it.
I mean, those are both. I think I got 3 first-round picks right now. That's how I'm feeling about it.
And there's plenty of moments out there.
Wow.
Back to Polar Bear. You have an announcer or commentator and a game so far.
I'll go a moment, and I think it's just because it's just kind of a crazy moment. Again, like my knowledge for college basketball is very small, but I do remember the weird, stupid shit that happens. So what I wrote down was, I don't remember the year exactly. I think it was like 2012 or around there, where there was it was the Georgia State coach that like tore his Achilles.
Oh yeah.
And I think his
Put
son.
together a great draft.
That's a great pick.
I forgot all about that.
But didn't his son play on the team or
So-
something like
Yeah, that's exactly
Had
right.
that on my list.
that? Winner, right?
Polar Bear's pick is RJ Hunter hitting the game winner
Oh, there we go.
versus Baylor, and his dad's the coach, and he fell out of his chair as it happened. All-time moment.
So good.
All-time moment.
To me, it was just remembering the damn guy falling out of the chair.
Yeah, it's hilarious. The
That's
shot was
amazing.
incredible too, but the guy falling off the chair and it happens to be his son was like, come on.
That's what really, again, like the whole like father son thing for a game or for a moment, if you will, is that's pretty badass. But the fact that he'll be, remembered as the guy that fell out of his chair on the side of a basketball game for the last shot. So that's my moment. And
Doc, have you yourself fallen out of a chair on the buzzer beater?
I've fallen and lain prone for over 15 minutes, suffering another heartbreaking loss. Yes. I've fallen face forward, unable to breathe after some of these stupid 3-point shots hit when I've got the other team, obviously.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been breathless before, many a time.
Breathless.
Breathless.
All right, great pick. On to RD.
Love that pick, Polar Bear.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal pick.
All right. So I picked a moment in Cinderella.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna go game, and it might be recency bias, but I'm going last year Final Four UCLA Gonzaga, 93-90. Gonzaga wins on the bank buzzer beater
Oh
by
God.
Jalen Suggs.
In OT, wasn't it?
I think it was
I don't know if it was
OT.
OT or not, but maybe 93-90 is pretty high scoring. So, but I mean that was an all-time game with Jalen Suggs and Juzang going back and forth. Juzang, I felt like hit like 20 shots in a row at one point. Awesome game, regardless of recency bias or not.
I agree with that. It was an awesome game.
Give me a little more, Doc.
I mean, yeah, it was that whole, the games in the tournaments now, they're so close. We had the one versus, like the last 4 or 5 years, you really like anybody can beat anybody. And it never used to be that way. It used to be like the top 8 seeds almost won all the games until they started playing each other. But now, I mean, you would think Gonzaga would be pretty hard to beat. They were number 1, weren't they? Like
Oh yeah.
every week. I mean, maybe for
Yeah.
a week we were out of it. So,
Yeah.
to
I
have
mean-
it be a close game and to lose, I mean, awesome.
Yeah, the other side of it was UCLA was, I think they were a first 4 team. Was that last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, they were a first 4 team, and then they were one of those first 4 teams that like make all their way to the, I think it was Final Four.
Yeah, they ended up being awesome, and it was
Yeah.
OT. So you're right.
Yeah, and that
So-
it was that whole second half was like, take a punch or be punched. So I
But
like the pick.
now that I realized it was OT, even better pick.
I'm not gonna hate on your pick just to hate on it. I like the pick. Okay, and we are gonna have to go to the next meeting at some point here, but we'll do that until we're forced. Doc, you're up. You have picked a game, even though you claimed miscellaneous, and a moment, which was pretty much also another game. So
The guy likes games.
Well, they all kind of come into things. So a Cinderella that I would have, I mean, I've got numerous, but the one that I would probably the one that's most memorable anyway to me was when NC State beat Houston way back, like 1983. I think it was 83, and Jim Valvano was the coach.
yes,
And Houston was, I mean, I think they may have been undefeated or maybe had a loss. And NC State had 10 loss. I mean, they probably were one of the last teams in. But Valvano, and he was, obviously we know him now from all of the great speeches he's made after all of that. But that kind of propelled him into being a famous coach, but which ultimately he turned into be a famous person, and obviously struck a chord with many people for his cancer foundation. But for an upset, NC State had no business being in the game with Houston,
pick.
and Phi Slamma Jamma, I think, was their nickname. So I think just upset wise, that was very memorable. Anyway.
Yeah. So I had on my list for a moment where the alley-oop at the end to win the game.
Right. Well, it was just really a bad shot, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. But I had that's just me like not seeing that live and knowing the situation of them coming into the tournament probably as a huge underdog. Like I've seen
Oh,
the
God,
30
yeah.
for 30, but I didn't even consider that as a Cinderella. That's a great pick.
Yep. I mean, they made a whole 30 for 30 on it, so for a reason. So can't really argue that pick.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different angles you can take with that team and with Belvano and the whole
Right.
aura of that. Plus, NC State was no good forever. I mean, they never won hardly anything. So
Yeah.
it was.
And haven't really since. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say they probably haven't won shit since.
Probably,
Yeah, I don't think I-
probably literally since that day.
That was it. That was their big moment.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
pick. All right, you're up again.
So that was Cinderella.
That was Cinderella.
That was a Cinderella, yeah. Just
But
because
that means all the rest of the stuff is off the table now.
Yep. Okay.
So I got a miscellaneous. So a miscellaneous can't have anything to do with the game. It's got to be something like outside the game itself.
Well, I'm concerned with your definition because you started with literally a game.
Well, right,
So I don't know where you're gonna.
Maybe
go.
I misunderstood what miscellaneous was supposed to.
Well, I said
It could
it's
be
like
a point in a game. Like it's not the game itself. It could be maybe a point in the game.
see, this is like I don't want to give away picks. I'm the only one that's taken a miscellaneous, which was betting. So
No, I
that
took a
should kind of say like what that means.
Well, I'll say all my miscellaneous are like not moments in a game or anything like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's something
then-
else to do with.
So I'm coming up with this one. I'll leave my announcer till last. So I'm going to come up with this one for miscellaneous. But to me, one of the highlights of the tournament, we just went through this with the Missouri Valley tournament, but at the end, where they go one shining moment, and they play all of the highlights from all of the games, and you see coaches crying, you see kids hoisting each other up, you see your cheerleaders, you see one of your best buddies from high school with his head in his hands at the end of a game.
Shout out Conk.
You can see, and it's really emotional because all of those, there's only one left, right? And that's just seems to be a great recap if you can do something like that, a great recap of an entire tournament in 2.5, 3 minutes. So I actually stuck around in the gym when they were giving Loyola the tournament trophy because they were doing one for the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And they're showing fans and, it was awesome. So anyway, that would be my
So,
one miscellaneous.
the one shiny moment video at the end of the tournament. That's what your pick is.
Yeah.
Good
It's a
pick.
It's a good pick.
On my board, Doc.
Nice.
It's
I love
just off
having
the
you.
cuff,
I love
huh?
having you scratch through shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't pick a game for miscellaneous. That's all. Not that hard.
Okay, I'm good. I got mine.
All right, we're back to RD. You got a game, Cinderella, and moment.
Okay. So there's no chance Polar Bear picks any of my miscellaneous.
Probably not.
So I guess I'll go commentator. And
I'm interested to hear who you're going to pick.
yeah, I'm gonna go away from like I guess what would the stock pick would be, I guess. We're going Bill Raftery.
Okay, he's on my list.
He's the Tickle the Twine from 29 guy, onions, a little lingerie on the deck is a good one he had. Send It In Jerome was his famous one. I don't know, he's in all the games. Outside of that,
I mean, I couldn't pick him out of the lineup, so that's my issue with the pick. I mean, I'm sure he's nice, but is he gonna win the draft? It's probably not.
you'd recognize his voice.
I don't think you look at the name Bill Rafferty and go, oh yeah,
Well,
that's my guy.
Ryan, isn't he normally like linked up with Jim Nance?
Yeah, he's a color commentator.
That's can't be giving away picks, Polar Bear. Cannot be giving away picks.
What did I do?
You mentioned a name that has not been off the board.
Fucking pick? Oh my god.
Well, I'm the only one left who has a commentator, and I'm not going to go.
Well, yeah. See, now he puts that in your head,
No.
and you
So
put
I
together a
ruined the
nice
whole
draft
thing.
board.
I will
Put together
say
a nice draft board.
to his point, my two guys were Jim Nance and Bill Raftery, and I went
Oh, okay. You know what's funny?
Jim Nance, he's on everything. I've had enough of
Oh,
Jim.
yeah.
What's
Well,
your
he's,
Jim
I mean,
Nance?
he's really good at golf,
No, I mean he's great, but
Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to go a little more outside the box.
I thought you were gonna go. Now that we're talking about it, I thought you were gonna go Jim Nance.
I was between the two.
Right.
Here we are.
Go Rafferty. Polar Bear, you're up.
What have I done? I've done.
What have you done?
What haven't I? I guess I ruined the whole draft by my last comment.
So you got a moment, a game, and an announcer.
So I need a.
So you need Cinderella and miscellaneous.
So my Cinderella would be UCLA for 2021. Just their. Do I have to? Can I pick that? If for me, it's their whole run. It's not just the game.
Yeah.
Rick's call.
I mean, you can argue it. I don't mind. I mean, I the only other Cinderella I have, I won't say, but
I think it just kind of muddies up the differentiating of our draft boards. If Ryan has the game of that run, and then you just have the run, I don't think it's different enough.
well,
But
to me,
I like the pick, but it's similar to what's already on the board.
Yeah, but I picked the game they lost. So
yeah,
Yeah,
for me,
it's in the
their
final
run,
four.
'cause it's 11. I mean, my thing is, it's an
Yeah.
11 seed as a Cinderella. That's to me, that's
I agree.
Any-
But I'm saying when people look at the list and there's 2 UCLA picks, I don't think it's different enough to establish has a better draft.
man, you're really fucking.
I'm a stickler for this shit.
God, you're a gnat's ass with you, man.
There's plenty of Cinderellas out there. We don't need to be picking the same
Right.
shit. We only have 5 picks each. We don't need to be running into each other.
Good lord,
That's right.
Do you need to take a bye?
man. Well, then it's gonna be, the Ramblers of 2018.
Hmm?
it's a
There you
great pick, man. Come on.
And that's I mean,
That's a great pick, but for me, good lord. I honestly thought everyone was, look, that would be it. Ramblers, just their run at it. They believe they went all the way to the Final Four and they lost to Michigan, right? Or am I way wrong?
I don't know.
I think you might be right. I don't know. They did make it to the Final Four because
Because I could be mixing up UCLA and UCLA beating Michigan as well.
let me look it
well,
up
they
here.
made it
Yeah,
to
they
the
lost to
Final
Michigan.
Four.
Yeah, you're right.
There we go. So you're on it.
There you go. I've done a little.
And newsflash, it's a great pick.
All right.
Yeah, I had them here, and they had a buzzer beaters against both Miami and Tennessee, and hit a shot within the last 3 seconds against Nevada. And they won all 3 of those games.
Yeah. And I
They
think
had a big old German guy as their center, Krautwig.
I do remember him.
He was gone.
Doug likes to pick little guys on the team like that to scrutinize.
But I mean, three buzzer beaters in one run is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And then you got you got to mention Sister Jean, of course, who Doc tried to introduce.
I tried to
himself
take her out, man. She's
recently.
tough. I couldn't take her out.
Yeah, she said, "We're gonna whoop your ass, dude. Get out of here."
And she
I
did.
tried to just get my
she
picture
did.
taken with her. I couldn't even do that thing. She's got bodyguards, for God's sake. So,
All right, good pick.
well, I like that pick better because even though UCLA, I don't even know what their seeds were, but UCLA is always perennially has the ability or the pedigree to get into a Final Four. Like Loyola had no business being there really. They had to win every game on the last second, and they probably will never be back. It's hard for them to recruit like that. So
I would agree. I just, like I said, I kind of picked my Cinderella story as UCLA because of where they were seated last year. And I think that was kind of like a shock to them, but I made my choice.
I like it. I like it a
I'm
lot.
good. Yeah, I like it.
All right, it's me now. My final 2 picks. So For my Cinderella, I'm gonna go to another, similar type of team, and I'm gonna go 2011 Butler, who made their run to the final game as a 8 seed, I believe, 8 or 9 seed, and it was the year they had Gordon Hayward, Brad
Yeah.
Stevens, Shelvin Mack, throw his name in there, and it was when they lost to Duke in the championship. But I mean, the road to get there, that was kind of the start of Butler's rise to, just being a much like Loyola, getting in the run of a Final Four team where you never would have, you probably picked them to lose round 1.
So 2010 or 2011? 2010's the Hayward team.
2010, I think.
Well,
That's the year they played Duke in the final.
yeah, whichever one, exactly, that one. And then if Gordon Hayward makes that half court heave, which actually was a pretty shitty.
Oh, it's right. It
championship
was
game.
right on it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he makes that shot, I mean, then they go down as everybody's favorite Cinderella. And they were just a fun team to watch. I mean, they play the right way. Brad Stevens basketball. Butler.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah. I think he
And
hit,
Gordon Hayward
well, he
ended
hit
up being a-
backboard for sure. I don't know if he hit rim and backboard, but
He did.
I think he hit both. Yeah. I mean, from off the hand, it looked like, oh shit.
From half
they're
court,
gonna
yeah.
win.
And if they had done that to beat Duke, this would have been an all-time moment. And I will reference that Doc Downing was rooting for Duke in that game. Classic move.
Despicable.
Just a disgusting display of humanity. Duke over Butler.
Yeah, small Midwest school, and you're rooting against them because you get bet on Duke. Jesus.
Right. I probably didn't cover either.
Which actually, hits to my betting miscellaneous pick again. You
Yeah.
got guys like Doc who are rooting against the underdog.
Yeah, it changes your entire perspective on shit, doesn't it?
And then, okay, so my last pick is a game. And this one sticks out because it actually cost me, being in the top 5 of Doc's pool. And it was the 2008 national championship between Kansas, Mario Chalmers' team, and Memphis, which was Derrick Rose's team. And, the Mario Chalmers 3-pointer that tied it up, and they went into overtime, and then they won. I had Memphis, had them all year. Derrick Rose is unbelievable. And it was the beginning of realizing that anytime one of these 3-pointers go down, it is not in my favor. And I knew it was going in. Yeah, that's going in. But an awesome game. And it was early on in watching March Madness as well, where you realize that the game is never over. Because Memphis is pretty much
Correct.
winning that whole game.
Yep, great game. Derrick Rose obviously ended up being a star. That was a fun one. Can't argue that one either. Not a whole lot of disagreement here.
Yeah. Well, I guess that speaks to how great March Madness is, that there's this many moments where it's not really, there's so many different things where you'd have to have like 9 people drafting to finally find somebody you didn't like.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Polar Bear, you're up.
I need a miscellaneous, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Well,
Oh yeah.
me being the annoying person I am, I picked the phrase of March Madness and where it actually came from.
I
And
love it.
from what I read, and again, I didn't know. I literally read this last week, but I have a couple notes. But from where it actually started, it started at in 1908 at an Illinois high school association where they would do like a statewide basketball tournament. And the basketball tournament got so big that it would like, I believe it got like to 900 teams involved with it. And there was an essay about this tournament, and they wrote, and I quote here, it says, "A little March Madness may complement and contribute to sanity and help keep society on an even keel." And he wrote that about an essay about the school association and the basketball tournament. And then it now in like I think it was the 80s or something like that where they it got trademarked to be March Madness, and that's kind of where it came from. So again, for me, it's more about the history of the name and how it kind of came about. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, that's a spectacular miscellaneous pick.
Yeah, deep hole there.
That's that's exactly what we're looking for.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's research well done there, kid.
1908
other thing-
origins.
The other thing is I didn't even know you could read. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, God bless you.
He had to take a shot.
That's Doc's take on the pitch.
Oh, I like yeah,
could
man.
Pissed.
So the funny thing is Illinois was one of those the state, even when I was there, that everybody who played basketball was in the state tournament.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what your record was. You might have had to play number 1 seed, out of somewhere else, but if you wanted to play, everybody was in it. So that it was probably one of the few state basketball tournaments that had every school represented. Well, even way back then. So that's pretty cool. I
I
like
love
that.
it. Great pick on RD.
Well, from what I read, but like I guess there was a bunch of like lawsuits associated with it as well from the Illinois High School Sport Association or whatever I said,
IHSSA, yeah.
and the NCAA about using March Madness. So now they like both
Wow.
agree to
Okay.
use it, which is pretty cool. So
Okay.
I learned something today.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
being the
Beautiful work.
education guy.
All right, RD.
Well, I did far less research on my miscellaneous picks here.
Yeah, that
So
takes the cake for sure.
this one's probably more personal to the Downing family, but I'm going with skipping school on Thursday, Friday to watch the opening games or the opening weekend of March Madness, and our mother allowing us to do so. I mean, it didn't get any better than mom just basically giving up, being like, all right, you guys, it is what it is. You guys can stay. You can watch all 16 games. You guys do whatever you want. It's one time a year. I'll call in sick for you, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're watching March Madness. So
It was on my list, obviously, and there was nothing better than letting your friends know that you're not coming Thursday or Friday, and they just don't understand it at all.
yeah, they're like, what? What do you mean? How are you getting at it? No, we watch
Like-
March Madness with our dad in the game room, and that's what we're gonna do.
It's more like, how are you not going home to watch the
Yeah,
game?
wait, what do you
Right.
mean? Your mom doesn't
You-
let you stay home on Thursday, Friday?
You've never not watched March Madness on Thursdays and Fridays.
And that there's nothing, and it's actually like being in school too, and being able to miss it. That whole dichotomy is what makes it so great. Now it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we can like work from home or whatever, but having like missing the obligation of going to school, it was the best.
Yeah, it's different now. I mean, now like you said, you can work from home or watch it.
Work
and
ahead or whatever.
there's beers involved now. It makes it fun, but it's a whole different element.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we also go when they're here. So, that's something unique. We never really went. I don't even know if they had games in San Diego in the old days, but we never went. We always just hunkered down and watched them here.
We've been before.
We've been twice.
No, not when you were not when you were in grade school. No, you did not.
High school.
I think the fact
Maybe high school.
I think
That's
what
what I'm talking about.
miscellaneous thing is the fact that it was a moment that you guys all remember. I think that's what to me. I'll be honest, that would surpass whatever miscellaneous ones there are because I think that's really cool to have that as a part of your, as you're growing up. It's a good memory. I love that. That's a great pick, Ryan.
Great pick.
Thank you. Can I tell you what my other one was?
Well, we'll get to honorable mentions after Doc closes this out here.
Okay.
So I got a commentator. So I can't go Jim Nance because Polar
I mean,
Bear.
you could. It would just be a length pick.
So I'm gonna go with Vern Lundquist.
I like it.
I just think his.
I think it's perfect for Doc's board.
He's probably my age. I think he's even older actually. But I just like he's got that way of announcing that you're always listening to him. He's one of the guys you actually listen to versus other guys that you hear, but you're not really listening to what he's saying. But he's not, like a Gus John. I mean, he's not like off your seat exciting, but he really knows the game and he understands it and he's got a good perspective. So, I mean, he does football, he does all kinds of stuff, but I'll go with Vern Lundquist.
Yeah, I have no qualms with Vern. He does a lot of big games, and he has a particular voice where you sit upright and pay attention. I like it.
Wait, who was the guy who used to do the Padres? That's not Vern Lundquist, was it?
Dick Enberg.
I get those two mixed up.
Well, I like Dick Enberg too. Yeah,
That's
he
a
didn't
great pair.
he didn't do much basketball though, but I like him too.
Oh yeah.
That's a great pair to mix up. Dick Enberg and Vern Lundquist.
I mean, they're all both old announcers.
Well, the guy that I really like, actually, but you guys probably never even heard him announce, was Jim Valvano. He was an announcer for like 4 or 5 years. And he was like, he was awesome. Him and Al McGuire, who used to coach for Marquette, just because they knew like exactly what was going to happen. And what, here's what the offense should do, and here's what the defense should do to counter the offense. And this timeout, he's got to tell them to do this. And it was like, oh man, and they were absolutely right. So it shows you that they really were students of the game. But those two guys, I mean, they broadcast not very long, 7 or 8 years probably, but they were good. They were really good.
Appreciate guys that can like actually understand what they're talking about versus guys that just shoot at the hip and go, "What kind of comment was that?"
Yeah,
I like that.
All right. So that was the last pick of the draft. Let's do a rundown of what we came up with here. So PD, Mr. Peanut, I got Gus Johnson, Chris Webber timeout, betting, Butler 2010 Cinderella, and the Kansas-Memphis National Championship game. Polar Bear, Kevin Harlan, the Illinois-Arizona game, the Georgia State-Baylor 3-point winner, and coach falling out of his chair, who also happens to be the player's dad. Loyola Final Four run, and the March Madness name and likeness origin of 1908.
I love it.
RD has a Villanova game winner, national championship versus North Carolina, Florida Gulf Coast, Cinderella, UCLA Gonzaga in overtime game winner, Bill Rafferty, and skipping school to watch the games. And Doc has Michigan State versus Indiana State, UMBC beating Virginia as a 16 seed, NC State in 83 with Jimmy V's team, one shining moment, and Vern Lundquist.
Hey, I like the board.
I do as well. I think it's diverse.
You got a pretty solid group.
Solid workout, everybody. Do we have any honorable mentions that didn't get picked on your list that are worth note?
I got a couple for miscellaneous. I thought were funny. I got clickage as one of them.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Very important.
Yeah,
Get Doc out of there.
being able to get to the right games at the right time for those unaware of what clickage is.
Very important.
What was the other one? Oh, and then this is kind of a reach, but tracking your own bracket with a highlighter and pen,
Right.
and yelling a highlighter after a big win.
That's I like yelling highlighter would be a great one. Or pen.
Highlighted.
Pen.
Yeah, that's a
Pen,
conference
right.
as well. Double shout out.
Red pen. So the other Nova game that I had was the one that they played against Georgetown in '85 final. And in the second half of that, I mean, that's an upset as well. But in the second half, which I didn't know until I was reading it, in the second half of that game, Villanova missed one shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
They shot 93% from the field, not from the free throw line, from the field. And for the game, they shot 79%, and they beat Georgetown by like 2. I mean, like,
Wow.
That's amazing.
like if you would have just shot 70%, you would have got B, right? One shot they missed the entire second half. So I thought that was
That is, yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. You know what the biggest upset in terms of a point spread? Norfolk State beating
Yes.
Missouri.
That killed me.
Crush me.
Killed me that year. Still
They
hurts.
were Missouri was a 21.5 point favorite and they got beat first game.
Guess who had them as his national championship?
I think
National championship that year. Champion.
I think by 1 o'clock,
bad.
half of the pool was like calling or texting. This is fucking bullshit. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
got
one.
a couple more good ones, I think.
Well, hold on. Let's get Polar Bear and myself in there as well. Polar Bear, do you have any on your list that didn't make it?
Well, mine was kind of like piggybacking off of Doc's game, Bird and Magic, and just what for me that was going to be my miscellaneous. Actually, was just the impact that made on kind of March Madness, if you will, and how it.
You're just repeating what he said.
Unbelievable.
That's
You
exactly
guys,
what I said.
you
I
two
got
are unbelievable.
booed out of the gym.
I
Yeah,
would say
and I stand by that.
I agree. I think for me, it's more of the impact it had on March Madness. That would be.
Wow.
Because of the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then there's for me, it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
just-
but
hey, this is my miscellaneous. Is the impact, result, not the game. I'm just saying the result of it. Just there you go.
yeah, you guys are bananas. I mean,
Okay.
You
Alright. I had UCLA when they beat Gonzaga. Adam Morrison crying on the floor. That was a
Hell
Gus
yeah.
Johnson call. That was
Yeah.
a great game. UCLA was down 17. Texas A&M beating UNI when they were down 12 with 44 seconds. That was a great one.
No, you mean you and I beating Texas A&M?
No, I mean Texas A&M beating UNI. I mean,
Well,
I
wasn't-
watched it.
They beat you and I beat Texas on the half court.
That was another one I had, which was awesome because we were all watching together and the buzzer beater happened and we just stand up and high five. Probably pick Texas. It's just one of those things where it's like that was awesome.
Was that the same year the kid came down? Like you and I had a 1 point lead against Kansas, I think. They were like the number 1 seed. Might be a different year, but
That was
Different year.
Well, it had to be a different year, but
yeah, so they were the
that was-
1 seed, and the kid comes down and they got like 40 seconds to go, and they said, oh, he's gonna, wind the clock down, and Kansas is gonna have the last second shot, and he gets the ball on the right-hand side, no hesitation, just throws it up,
Yeah.
hits the three, and
That's
they go
the-
like 4. It's like, holy shit, what is he doing? Oh my god, he made it! Are you kidding me?
That's
That was great.
Farouk Manesh.
Yeah. That's wow.
I had a hilarious idea of texting Polar Bear on the side and telling him to pick the Western Kentucky game 1 or 3 to just watch Doc's reaction.
Ah,
That would have been good.
That would have been. It was like that hurt me though too at the time, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that was
I
tough.
think that started my heart problems. Actually, that particular game.
That was tough. Drake finally makes it
surprised
after a
this-
phenomenal year. Gets smoked.
a couple.
Surprised they started. The only other one I had out of all of them was, and this is what Glory Road, the movie, comes from.
I had that.
But when Texas Western with all 5 black guys, first
Yeah.
team ever to win an NCAA championship, starting 5 black guys, and who they did it against, which was Kentucky and Adolph Rupp. I mean, that like you can't even write it that good.
Yeah.
actually.
Who actively said that he wouldn't start or he wouldn't recruit black players.
He said, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I had that.
I mean, that
That's a good one.
fits like 100 different categories, but I like that one.
I also had like cutting the net after winning. I thought that was,
That'd have been nice.
Yeah.
Would that be moment or miscellaneous?
honestly, I would argue that for both.
Either, yeah.
I
I
think,
guess so.
yeah, I don't know, just the fact that you get to cut it down. I mean, I would say it would probably be a big moment in a player's life, if you will.
All right. Well, I think we covered it all. That's
I got 2 more.
Okay, let's keep it coming.
We got. We had to mention George Mason, Cinderella,
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
no one.
The
I guess
the
Let me just-
original.
on that one. I guess like it just never really like hit me that hard what George Mason did because I looked at that too, but I was just like, I wasn't like that into it.
11 seed and the game versus UConn went to OT. That was an awesome game. Then I had Davidson with Steph Curry as a Cinderella.
I did. I have that one. Yeah.
And then lastly, have to do a shout out to USD buzzer beater against UConn. Lesser known, but great moment for me personally.
Yeah, it was a great moment. We have not been back since. I don't think so.
Nope, it's all been downhill since.
The only other one I had was VCU coming out of the first four, being the first team to do that.
Yeah.
And Shaka Smart coming on the scene, who
Right.
obviously that fueled his career.
They beat Kansas, another number one debacle.
And then I had camaraderie of watch party and staying alive after weekend one for miscellaneous.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than like I'm still in it.
I still got a chance.
Yeah.
There was the one, and I don't know what year it was, but with Loyola Marymount and Hank Gaither, like, didn't he like die on the court, or at least he had a heart attack on the court and he died during the season?
Yeah.
And he was a lefty, and I can't remember the other star on that team, but Paul Westhead was the head coach. And the other star on the team shot the first free throw of the NCAA tournament left-handed in remembrance of Gaither, and he made it.
And he made it.
It's like, and he made it. God, who was they? I'll have to look it up. But that was when Loyola, like, they scored 145 points or something. They were
Len
crazy.
Bias. What
No,
was it?
he was Marylander, I think, or NC State.
I thought that was the guy that had the heart attack. Len Bias.
No,
He
well, he
died.
might have. Yes, he did have a heart attack, actually. But this guy died. Hank Gaither was the guy who
Hank
died.
Gaither. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Len Bias was before he got drafted. That was
Oh, that's
irrelevant.
right. A different story. All right. Nice work. First snake draft. We will have many more. And we'll see how the crowd reacts to our performances and who becomes the first winner of such.
Good luck in
right.
your brackets.
Fuck.
See
Are
ya.
you? Did you do it last year, BMAC?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't win. You know.
No, you're not ever gonna win. No, that's reserved for me.